Hello everyone, this is Chaster Channel. My name is Kirill and we talk about watches here. Today we have a model from Citizen, seemingly simple but with its own interesting features. Some you need to look closely at, while others are immediately noticeable. Today we will go over everything in the AW1715-86X watches, and you can purchase them at my store chasterclub.com. Not only them, the Citizen brand is represented by more complex models, simpler models. All links will be in the description. A very curious model, very interesting. And even on the case itself, there are several curious points. Firstly, it is fully satin finished, which already arouses interest. Even the sides of the bracelet are satin finished. I mean, you might think they are sometimes polished, but no. Here, polishing is only found on the side of the back cover and the side of the bezel. The second point is the angular cuts on the inner side of the lugs. Such a futuristic element, you can only notice it up close, but it is also unique in its own way. And of course, the main thing is the offset crown. It is shifted not exactly to the 2 o'clock position, but almost to the 1 o'clock. Take a look. And I can recall something similar from Vostok. We had a similar model. This is of course done so that the crown doesn't bother you here, doesn't press into your wrist. Plus, after all, with similar quartz watches, we don't use the crown often, and that's good because here it doesn't extend very conveniently. I'd like to point out that the crown is almost up against the lug, and this protrusion on this side is exactly what makes it hard to get to it comfortably. So you have to maneuver your fingers a bit, at least compared to the usual crown position. But, as I already said, we still don't use it often. The bezel has minute markings, or rather on the insert's edge, but the insert itself is divided into two colors. The lower half is black and the upper half is green. Also an interesting division, but it's clear that the green matches the dial, which is hidden under flat mineral glass. Here the dial is at a medium distance, also with minute markings, plus hourly, both before and after 12. If the marking after 12 goes on the outer edge, then the marking before 12 is in the center. Yes, aside from the large 6 and 12, you might not have noticed that there are 4 more numbers on the dial. 02, 04, 08 and 10 with horizontal lines next to them. I think for many this reminded them of an aviation instrument called an artificial horizon, a gyroscopic instrument used to determine the tilt of an aircraft. And of course, this pattern, this image gives the model a maximally pilot-like style. I especially liked the tip of the minute hand, so pointed like a fighter jet. Of course, there is luminescent material on the hour and minute hands and on the indices. And also the orange color, like that's the tip of the second hand, which is gray by the way, and the triangle near 12. Overall, it actually turned out to be, on one hand, a clutter of different elements, but on the other hand, harmony is maintained. And even the frame is not quite ordinary, visually divided in half. By the way, the black disc does not draw unnecessary attention. Inside, there is generally a standard eco-drive mechanism, J810, and we have encountered similar ones. I remind you that there was a model with the J800 movement. The dial resembles a starry sky. Here essentially everything is the same, only there is no day of the week, just one date, but also a power reserve of 8 months. That is, if your watch is in the dark, it will last more than half a year. But naturally, they recharge from any light source, be it the sun or a regular lamp. The operation is standard in 2 positions, but as I already said, it extends not particularly conveniently, but again, this can be overlooked. And by the way, you can't really rotate it with 2 fingers like this. I think that this way it all turns out to be maximally ergonomic because you can't really grab it with 2 fingers like this. The date changes at around 5 minutes before 12. The hands are very responsive and react instantly to turning the crown. The number itself changes in the first position of the crown counterclockwise. Luminous material, no questions, truly diver-like filled, and the indices and hands stand out excellently at different angles. Everything is done beautifully here. And here's how they sit on the wrist. They're a bit too big for me. Here the height at the edges of the lugs is almost 52 millimeters, diameter 44 millimeters, not 43, as stated on the internet. I remeasured, I got 44, 43, maybe they were actually looking at the bezel. The thickness is excellent, 10.2 millimeters, let's say, a dress watch option. And the bracelet, as I mentioned, is satin finished on the side and top, but not without polished parts. Here, its width is 20 millimeters, well, fits a wrist up to approximately 21 centimeters. The clasp is branded, no surprises. The total weight of the watch is 145 grams. Beautiful watch, pilot style, suitable for urban and rural use. Reliability here is also decent, as it has 100 meters of water resistance and a mechanism that is always running. Therefore, they can be used both during hikes and, for example, simply in the city, either on a bare wrist or with shirts that are not too formal. Naturally, after all, they have such a non-classical look, so to speak. Therefore, anything apart from business style and perhaps sports style, everything else is generally suitable. So at first glance it seems like the most ordinary model, unremarkable, but only by looking from different angles do you realize that it has its own charm, and not just one. I would note here the satin finish, the interesting edges, and the offset head. This is regarding the body itself. Next, the color scheme. Beautiful green color on both the dial and the insert, plus an orange accent. Certainly pilot style. The dial itself looks good. I think it only benefited from these grey lines. The luminescent material is excellent, as is the mechanism and the level of water resistance. All in all, the model is quite decent. And if it caught your eye, then it's wonderful. Because here, of course, you need to rely on your taste first, how acceptable this kind of crown is for you in general. The solution is unconventional, and it might seem extremely strange to someone. By shifting the crown to the very edge, it seems that the watch has taken on a completely uncharacteristic shape. But I think it's a matter of getting used to. I think someone will actually like this shape. We have these watches, you can purchase them at the store chasterclub.com. And by the way, for this Japanese brand, the price is quite reasonable. In the end, I would like to know your opinion about this model. Be sure to leave it in the comments under the video. If you liked it, then like and subscribe to the channel. That's all. Goodbye everyone.